need Nykthos in this strategy. There's only 3 copies, and in fact, the fourth one's not even in the deck. There's a Foundry of the consoles instead. So we could see something similar like this in the new standard format.
A Temple of Silence is where Achorn will begin. For Gettel, just a Plains. Gettel with the second Plains, and now an Adafensa, Kintree Spirit.
1 copy in the main deck.
But more importantly, 2 White Devotion.
This deck is light on what you would classify as devotion payoffs. There's Elspeth, Mastery of the Unseen. Those are really the big plays you're trying to get towards.
Here's the hand from a Thoughtseize. A couple of Plains over here, an Archangel Ties, a Knight of the White Orchid, and then a Nykthos. So Thoughtseize is actually going to do a nice job of poking a hole in this hand.
Yeah, not a lot of action here, and nothing to do with all those lands for the time being. And a hand that's also very vulnerable to a sweeper.
Be surprised if the selection is not the Archangel. Such a powerful card. It looks like he's going to, wow, he's going to take the Knight of the White Orchid. All right. So Stephen Achorn not afraid of Tucker Gettel's Archangel Ties at this point.
If Archon's curve is something like 2 heroes downfalls, it makes sense to break up the curve.
There's an attack for 2 and just pass the turn back. Siege right on Achorn's hand. Picked up another copy of Thoughtseize, so maybe that explains how the Thoughtseize was done, as now Gettel is just left with 3 Plains. There's a Llanowar Waste, pass the turn back. Gettel will draw. Picked up a copy of Vermaz. All right, there we go. A little something doing here. There's Vermaz right now. I want that pre-combat. There we are.
Get a little bolster trigger here.
Yeah, I got to get that bolster trigger. Well, Ultimate Price is going to make that not going to happen. Pass the turn back. There is a Windswept Heath. Maybe we might have a Siege Rhino on the way. There is a basic Plains. So Colors of Mana, well, that's easy to do.
Couple ways to remove Siege Rhino in this deck. 3 copies of Valorous Stance, 2 copies of Banishing Light, 2 copies of Elspeth, Sun's Champion.
There is a Siege Rhino. Achorn will go up to 16. Gettel down to 17.
But we know right now Gettel working with just lands.
And how about another one? You know, that is one of the issues with this particular deck. There are ways to mitigate flooding, like Master of the Unseen. He just doesn't have one right now.
Your ways of evening out these kind of draws, Elspeth, Sun's Champion, Master of the Unseen. Hangerback Walker to a lesser degree.
Sure. 3 copies of that card in the deck. There's Knobs on Charm. That'll take care of Maz. Rhino's going to come across into the red zone. Gettel will fall down to 13 for Maz the draw. There's a Plains. Here comes the King of Oreskos. Pass the turn back over to Achorn. I believe Nissa may have been the draw here for Steven.
Nissa, a great draw here for Achorn. Flooding out a little bit.
Not the worst place to be, though.
He can hold back on defense, even if Gettel rips a removal spell for the Siege Rhino. Next turn, Nissa flips. Good place to be.
Absolutely. Vastwood Seer. Another card I expect to see a lot of play in that new format.
Though, keep in mind, basic forest.
Very important.
Can't get the duels.
Yep.
But I agree with you, it's going to show up plenty. This is the closest proxy people are going to have to Corsair Crewfix as a way to bridge the gap between 3 mana and getting to some more expensive plays.
Here comes Siege Rhino. Gettel, no good blocks here, so he'll take 4 more. There's a Temple. Take a look at the top card, will Achorn. That top card, we'll see where it goes.
A slightly risky attack here from Achorn, as if Gettel rips away to remove Nissa from the table. Suddenly, Vermaz hits, the board's close to even. I think I would have had a preference there maybe to hold back on D for 1 turn, ensure that Nissa flips.
Top card's going to go to the bottom. Pass it over to Gettel. Gettel will draw. Has he found anything to do with all of these lands? Looks like he's going to start by attacking here with the Vermaz. Token will be made, but it's going to be predictably blocked by Nissa. So 3 damage will be coming across. And now here's a Knight of the White Orchid. Doesn't get to search up any lands, however. So just a 2/2 first striker that provides devotion.
Now this card, I think, is going to go way up when there's a rotation.
Same. Because this one can search.
This one gets the duels.
Yep. Nissa going to flip. Sage Animus is here. See if it's got some interest in making that 4/4 elemental, or if it's just going to go up, and it will go up, and well, that's better than a 4/4 elemental. It's a Siege Rhino.
I was about to say, I think it was close between the plus and the minus, but you know, a Siege Rhino's on top. I prefer the plus.
Maybe a little plus action there, yeah. No attacks here for Achorn. He'll hold steady. Another planes to draw here for Gettel. Not a lot doing here for Tucker, unfortunately, in this first game. He's flooded out quite badly.
Yeah. Thoughtseizes are really punishing on those kind of draws.
Yep.
And Gettel without any of his big mana payoffs and Mastery of the Unseen or Elspeth.
Now, Achorn's got this Planeswalker online that can be a card drawing engine for him. Even though his hand right now, I believe, is all lands, still in a great shape.
Achorn's flooded out quite a bit himself.
Yeah.
He's just got better use for his mana here in this game than Gettel does.
It's going to fall down to 2. So there's the elemental token. It is legendary, but it is a 4/4. Now here comes Siege Rhino. We'll get a double block. Bramaz will make a token. We'll see how Achorn wants to organize the blockers.
I like just getting the Bramaz off the table here.
Looks like that's what's going to happen.
It has the most toughness, and it generates a token, so it's the best threat against trample creatures.
Let's get another planes here for Gettel. Jeez. Tough draw here for Tucker this game. All I can do is pass the turn back. Looks like he's going to die in this coming turn. Courser of Crew fix the draw. Achorn to deploy the 2/4. We'll get a look at the top card of his deck. It is just a basic forest. That on the battlefield. Achorn will gain a life, go up to 17. Next card is the Siege Rhino. Nissa will tick up, and that'll make things even easier here for Steven Achorn. He's going to win game number 1 here with Abzan control over Tucker Gettel and his Mono White Devotion deck. We're looking for a little bit more fight here from Tucker, and I'm hoping he's got some helpful things on the sideboard to put up a fight against Abzan.
3 copies of Celestial Flare, a Revoke Existence, a Valorous Stance, 2 copies of Glare of Heresy, 2 copies of Tragic Arrogance, a Mastery of the Unseen, 2 copies of Surge of Righteousness, 2 copies of Banishing Light, and a Ration Cleric. I think you're going to see the additional copy of Mastery of the Unseen come in, the additional copy of Valorous Stance, and I can get behind some mixture of Glare of Heresy, Tragic Arrogance, and Banishing Light. I think it's easy to go a little too heavy on the removal, but I think Gettel wants more interaction with the board.
On the other side of things here for Steven Achorn, he's got 2 Fleece Main Lions, 2 Glare of Heresy, 2 Drown in Sorrow, and a lot of singletons here. A Sorin Silent Visitor, an Ultimate Price, Bile Blight Duress, Unravel the Aether Tremoka's Command, and Hostilities, Tragic Arrogance, and the big one, Ugin the Spirit Dragon.
Yeah, I like all the sweepers, all the spot removal. I think Ugin's a great play on the top end. Very hard for Mono White Devotion to beat that card. And I could see bringing in the Dromoka's Command as well, because Achorn's threats are pretty good at fighting against Gettel's, especially with Siege Rhino, and blowing up Mastery of the Unseen is at a premium in this matchup, one of Gettel's best cards.
So there's the options there for both players. For Gettel, looking to do a little bit more than the flooding that he did in the last game. So we'll see if he can get a more spell-dense hand. But in the meantime, we will talk about the StarCityGames.com newsletter, where actually you can find some articles about Mono White Devotion and a whole lot more.
Yeah, if you want to find out all the going-ons about Star City Games, this list, cultivated, curated by Cedric Phillips, gives you all the information about the Open Series, including a match of the week, exclusive deck lists and advice from some of our premium columnists, an exclusive cardboard crack comic, and best of all, sign up right now is free over at StarCityGames.com/newsletter.
Pretty simple stuff. The F word, of course, free to sign up for, as Patrick did mention, as we get ready here for game number 2 between Tucker Gettel and Steven Achorn. We've been informed that Andrew Jessup has made the top 8 as well here, so we can lock in him and Eric Smith. So congratulations to both of those players. Great start.
If you're not signed up for the newsletter, you missed that last week Cedric Phillips correctly used the word penultimate in a sentence. I was very proud of him.
Thank you very much.
A word frequently misused.
Well, see, I got a good friend. It's called the internet.
Yep.
Make sure I use those words correctly.
That does not prevent people from using the words incorrectly.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Look, if you're going to be a content coordinator for a website and edit articles, you better get those words right. Otherwise, what am I even doing here?
Right.
What am I even doing? I read articles for a living. I speak for a living. If I don't know what penultimate means, I don't know what anything means.
And you're not going to know every word, you know? But you can at least not use the words you don't know.
It's true. I have to stay in my comfort zone.
Great power comes great responsibility.
Also true. Also true. So penultimate is second to last.
Correct.
Okay, so what's the term for last?
Last works.
Thank you.
That's why I'm a wordsmith.
That's true.
Just had the right word.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Isn't there a fancy word for last that's got an ultimate with it? Right? Like there's penultimate, which is second to last. And there has to be another one.
Sure.
I would expect you to know the answer to this question.
There's just a lot of words you can use
Okay,
there.
so you don't know the answer. Okay, perfect.
No, I know several answers, and I need you to be more specific.
I feel like you know what I'm asking.
Is there a fancier word for last?
So second to last is penultimate. So what's the one that they use for last that is similar to penultimate?
I don't think there really is one.
Isn't there one? I figured there would be another one. Like what's third to last in the penultimate chain? Is there one for that too?
I don't know.
Okay, see, you just don't know the answer to my question. I bet Twitter knows. They'll help me. That's what they're there for. They'll help me.
If you are interested in people using words incorrectly, Twitter is about the best resource that exists.
See, Nick Miller in the sideboard just told me, see, it's just ultimate.
Right, but there's several words that can go in that slot.
That could be true. But I was looking for the ultimate version. And Nick Miller went to journalism school, great writer, knows a lot about words.
Final
Very
words.
useful.
How about final?
That's not the word I was looking for. Like I said, you know what I'm looking for, and you're not being helpful at all.
You were just trying to flex some verbal muscles. I get it.
Not particularly. In this instance, no. In most instances, yes. Stephen Achorn, Tucker, Gettel. Going to take a look at their opening hands here. Tucker, a lot of planes in the last game. Not a lot of action, unfortunately. They even had his Archangel of Tithes thought seized.
And you can see the difference in this matchup here. Achorn also drew a lot of lands. He's just got better stuff to do with a lot of mana than Gettel does.
No, absolutely. I mean, the power level of Acorn's deck is higher than Gettel's deck. So, you know, it makes you just wonder, like, of the super powerful cards in Gettel's deck, how do they line up against Abzan? That's the big question. A card like Archangel of the Tithes, how good is it in this matchup?
Gettel's flooding out a little bit. He draws the Bramaz. Acorn's flooding out a little bit. He draws a Nissa. They're both 3 mana.
Yep.
One's better in that sort of game than the other.
Absolutely. I draw Bramaz. You draw Bramaz, I draw Siege Rhino.
Yeah.
You know, same thing. That said, Gettel does have some cards that are very good in this matchup. For example, he's got 4 main deck copies of Wingmate Rock. That's a card that plays a huge role in things here. It's very good against Abzan aggro, but Abzan in general. So if he's able to find one of those, which he couldn't last game, be in a pretty good spot.
Though a little bit worse against the control builds of Abzan, as Languish is typically floating around in that deck in some number.
2 copies of Languish here.
Still very good. They have to have it.
Yep.
It's really bad news if they don't have it, but they do have some answers. Against the aggressive builds of the deck, Wingmate Rock's about the best thing going on.
Looks like Gettel's going to take a mulligan here. Did not find what he was looking for.
And broke a sleeve while he was at it.
Jeez, it's tough last round.
And then to drop the card. I mean, it's just, when it rains, it pours.
It's just all piling on. It's just really tough. Really difficult.
Flood out, mulligan, break a sleeve, drop a card.
Is anything going to go his way?
The sign in the background falls on him.
Come on now. I do not think that Melik is a Paragon that's going to fall on him.
Trapdoor opens up beneath him. Who knows?
There are sharks down there.
Right.
Yeah. Don't know how all this is happening in Worcester, how no one's noticed that the sharks are in the trapdoor.
Right. Why don't the zoning laws cover trapdoors inside of public spaces? I don't know.
Well, this is the DCU Center. We'll have to talk to the fine people here.
Right.
It's unclear. Very, very unclear. Tucker's going to regain here.
Right.
Let's look, everyone watching.
Getting rocked.
Tucker, right now, everyone's rooting for you with your Mono White Devotion deck.
Yeah.
We don't get to see it very often. You're making a deep run here. You're 11-3. You're trying to emulate Sam Black's success from Worlds. We haven't seen this deck very much on the Open Series. We want to see what it can do. We want to see it look impressive. Now he's going to keep. He's got a Plains. We're underway here. Stephen Achorn. with a Sandstep Citadel. We head back Gettel's way. There's a Plains. There's an Anafenza. We saw this start last time.
Bang! Off to a start.
Plains the draw. Looks like it might be Foundry of the Councils as the land, but it'll go with the Plains. And now a Hangerback Walker.
Combo deck.
Yep. What are you gonna bolster onto? Hangerback Walker. Now we're off to a good start.
Give your opponent that look like, you see what I just did.
Yep. You know how it works. I don't even have to explain it.
Right. You know what's happening.
Windswept Heath. Achorn will sacrifice that, go down to 17. Basically dead. Here's a Courser.
Yep. Barely holding on.
Yep. We'll see what the top card is of Steven's deck here in just a moment. See, he's got a spice to work with. It's good. Languish is good. Yeah. I think Gettel may have just trying to copy a Tragic Arrogance. There's the Founder of the Councils. No real great attacks to be had here for Tucker.
Yeah, this is a weird squeeze because now, you know, if you're in Gettel's spot, you sort of want to pivot and start activating the Hangerback Walker. But if Achorn has an Obzon Charm to exile it, then where are you going from here?
Yep.
Can't really attack, Languish on top of the deck.
Here's 4 mana. Archangel of the Tides would be really good right now for what it's worth. Okay.
Huzzah!
So there that is. Time to bolster. Hangerback Walker growing up. We're passing the turn back. Languish the draw. Languish does not kill Archangel of Tides, and you don't really want to clear away Hangerback Walker right now. So Tucker Gettel getting something done here. You just got to hope that Steven Achorn doesn't have a card like Obzon Charm. However, Achorn does have a Temple to place off the top of his deck onto the battlefield. So Temple will trigger 2 things. One, of course, is Courser. The other is the Scry from the Temple. Caves of Koilos here for the Scry.
Now, fortunately, Achorn's hypothetical Obzon Charm is a little taxed right now. There's 2 good targets in play.
Sure.
So that's something.
Caves looks like he might be headed to the bottom of the deck from the Scry trigger. Achorn a little unsure of himself. Getting a good look at his hand there. He's got a Nissa over there. Siege Rhino 2. Caves goes to the bottom. Top card now from Courser is an Obzon Charm. Pass the turn back over to Gettel. Gettel will draw. Soldier of the Pantheon in hand. See what else Tucker can muster here. Gonna go with the Valorous stance to clear the path here.
Got a little something going.
There goes Courser. Red zone come the creatures, but you can see Achorn's got that Obzon Charm at the ready. See which creature he wants to target with it.
At least Gettel's getting in some hits.
Yeah.
He might be able to capitalize on the fact that Achorn is in that sort of dangerous spot for Obzon where they're stuck casting 1 spell a turn against a deck that has some pressure going.
Well, that's where you want him. 5 damage will be dealt. And Gettel will just pass the turn back. Soldier of the Pantheon and Tragic Arrogance in hand. There's a Plains there for Achorn.
Achorn looks pretty well set up right now.
Yep, there's Nissa. Taking the opportunity to get that online. Basic Forest.
And Achorn's got a lot of great options rolled up here.
Yep.
He has Dromoka's command. He has the option of fighting and taking down Anafenza. He has an Obzon Charm that Gettel knows about that can just exile the Hangerback Walker. On top of Languish, on top of a handful of other cards.
It all looks pretty good right now, doesn't it?
Great spot for Achorn.
For now, just going to pass the turn back. Plains the draw. That's the 5th land for Tragic Arrogance, but you can see on this board, Tragic Arrogance just doesn't line up to be very much at this point.
Yeah. And there's just a question in my mind about how effective Tragic Arrogance is going to be against a deck like Abzan Control, because I don't think Mono White Devotion can win a game reliably that goes on for that long. I think Tragic Arrogance a little while ago, when people were not expecting it, caught off guard by it, might have been a different equation.
Sure.
But I think there's just more information floating around now, and that card's going to struggle to do a whole lot in matchups like this, where both decks are playing on the board, but you're playing the less powerful, faster deck.
Well, there's Abzan Charm. So there goes Hanger Backwalker. And now when you know your opponent had that Abzan Charm, you also know your opponent has Languish too. It's really just hard to commit anything to the board.
Yep. Nissa about to flip.
Yep.
And just a handful of cards besides that.
There's a Temple. You'll get that to flip. There will also be a Scry. You can see why this is a difficult matchup. Looks like Achorn actually may have missed his Scry trigger, yeah. There's Sandsep Citadel. Got so focused on flipping Nissa for to actually scry with the Temple of Malady, but just going to be okay.
Yeah, he'll
live.
Achorn's going to be all right.
Yeah. Here's an Elspeth. Gettel will draw. Copy a Wingmate Rock, which in some situations would be good, but you mentioned this during the sideboarding. If they have Languish, not so much. That's
now
where we kind of are.
He's got Tragic Arrogance, which is, in theory, fine in the spot, but it's not going to contain Achorn's entire board, and Gettel kind of needs to kill everything, because either one of these Planeswalkers, left uncontested, is good enough to win the game.
And that's the big problem.
There are several big problems. Trying to narrow it down right now to a single big problem is very hard to do.
There's a lot going on here.
Yeah. The big problem is everything. That's happening.
Yeah. Abzan's a real jerk sometimes.
The cards that they have and the cards that you have, that's the big problem.
Yeah. Makes you wonder how many times Gettel was able to get by Abzan here this weekend. Here's Tragic Arrogance. Gets to take care of a Planeswalker. So Elspeth, bite the dust. Now you've got Anafenza that's going to go over there to try to whittle down Nissa a little bit. So it'll fall down to 2, but it's not dead, which is most important there for Achorn. Achorn will draw. Windswept Heath as Nissa moves up. There's a Forest. Looks like a Siege Rhino on the way, but first an attack for 1. Now there's a Rhino. Achorn will move up to 14. Gettel will move down to 14. Abzan just really flexing its muscles in this matchup. Achorn able to play a land there as well, as that was his land for the turn. Nissa had revealed a land. Now Gettel with that Soldier of the Pantheon and just a Wingmate Rock in hand. Deck doesn't line up very well against Languish.
No. I have no further
analysis.
That is the end of the analysis. No, it's not great against that card. Gettel's way to fight in games like this is Mastery of the Unseen. He has not found it in either game, and it's very hard to play through. It's not even like Achorn's draws have been that impressive. He's just had solid Abzan control draws. And it's very hard for Gettel to get much going.
See, I'm so thankful for Twitter being on my side on occasion here. Ultimate is the last, penultimate, and then the third to last, anti-penultimate.
Okay.
So, see, they were helpful. They knew what I was asking for. I think you did too. But you were being a little rude.
I did not know anti-penultimate, nor would I ever use that word, because it's more verbose and less clear than third to last.
But sometimes you just want to feel really smart.
Right.
That's all.
I don't really have that need anymore. I'm good.
Nissa moving up to 4. Top card here for Steven, Hero's Downfall.
Cool.
another hard one to beat.
That's lots of fun.
Here comes Siege Rhino. Gettel gonna fall down 4 more points. And Steven says, I'll just pass. Hero's Downfall will take care of Anafenza. 2 Thopters will be made here from the Foundry of the Councils being activated.
At least it's better than a Nykthos would be in this spot.
Looking for positives.
Solid tech building.
There you go. An honest critique. Not sure how he's going to beat Languish ever, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Take that, Nissa.
I love that attack. Sometimes in games like this, you have to make your own little mission because you can't win. Like if I'm Gettel, if I get Nissa off the table, I feel pretty good about it.
It's like a small victory.
Right.
Yeah. So it's no longer about the 13 points. It's more about the Nissa now. Here's a Knight of the White Orchid. There's trigger.
Sweet.
Value. Get a basic planes.
On the house. Free of charge.
That card's going to be good.
Yes. This card, first of all, it's possible that Archangel Tithes goes into decks, and if Ultimate Price is not a removal spell people feel they can play because of Devoid and all the gold cards, that could be a base. And this fetching the new dual lands, that's a real thing.
Yeah. I think there's something here with this card. Ultimate Price the draw. Llanowar Waste will enter from Nissa.
Just making future Knight of the White Orchids more powerful for Gettel.
Indeed. Have as many planes as you'd like. Now we're going to cash in Languish. That soldier token will have to leave the battlefield there for Steven. And Achorn happy to pass the turn back. Valorous Stance the draw. Here's a Soldier of the Pantheon. Pass the turn back, will Gettel over to Achorn. Now Achorn will draw. Den Protector. Just another unbeatable card.
Nice to go along with this handful of Terminates against the creatures of various casting quality strategy.
Yeah. Ultimate Price. Get that out of here. In for 4.
Take that.
I'm glad that pleases you so much that now Steven can play Den Protector, unmorph it, and cast the Rhino again.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he's going to do. Tucker is going to fall to 3 from the trigger.
Love the Valorous Stance here. Gettel would rather die on his feet than live on his knees.
Absolutely. Take a draw. Knight of the White Orchid. Get that land.
Well, you can do that and cast Wingmate Rock.
Get that land.
You can cast the Wingmate Rock.
He's giving up. He's tapping out. Steven Achorn's going to win this match here over Tucker Gettel. 2-0. Abzan really flexing its muscles here. And for Steven Achorn, he is in the top 8 at 12-3. So congratulations to him. For Tucker Gettel, unfortunately, his deck did not come together at the exact wrong time when playing for top 8.